What's up, guys? Today, figured I'd do a live stream Sunday morning. What time is it? Is it 8 o'clock in the morning? Yeah, we should be able to get some people in here. Um, I'll wait like a minute. Nobody come. If nobody joins the live stream, then I'll just do this live stream later. Everybody's still sleeping. It says we got one like. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say it doesn't look like there's anybody in here. What's up, guys? What's up, man? Don't do that. I gotta have a business. What's up, Cameron? What's up, Blake? So I'm doing this live stream. I just did a video. It's gonna be posted later, but basically I wanted to do this live stream of like what's your experience? The guy's been in business. What's your experience with, you know, being on Facebook, in real life, somebody saying that they're going to put you out of business. Like, I, so one of my buddies he messaged me and he's like, hey man, has anybody ever told you that they were going to put you out of business? And I'm like, yeah, it's happened to me before, a whole bunch of times. And, he's like, yeah, my cousin's trying to do that to me. He's trying to go around and talk to people behind my back and this and that. And, I was like, yeah, man, dude, don't even sweat it. Like, what it is it's always the people that think that they know everything. They know everybody. They think they're the center of the world. They think they're king, king of the world, basically. It's always those people that think they're, I'm doing so good, I could put you out of business. I'll put you out of business. Those type of people. So I wanted to open up the live stream and say, have you ever experienced that? And if you did they put you out of business or no? What's up, Brandy? Weather's good out here. It's slightly overcast. It's a little chilly. Um, More drama llamas. Yeah, not for me though. I don't have any drama. One of my buddies is experiencing this right now. But this did happen to me like, I don't know, 2 years ago when I had about a year in business when I was just getting started. Tons of people are like, oh, I'm gonna put you out of business. I'm gonna blacklist you, man. It's like, dude, for one, I don't even know who you are. So you can't be that important. For number two, I've never worked for you, right? So you definitely aren't that important. For number three, like you're in a totally different area than me. So it's like some of these people, they think that for some reason they can put you out of business. And so I'm at the point in my business where those same people that told me they were going to put me out of business have messaged me complimenting me for how my business is doing. Like those are the people like it cracks me up too. It's like they were talking so much smack online and then they want to come around and then they were like, "Oh man, you're killing it, man. You look like you're really serious in business." It's like you have actually have the nerve to come and say that to me now after all that smack you talked. Like those are the type of people. It's just like you just want to smack them upside the head. Like I'm glad that they finally came around, and they're finally at the point where they're like, man, this guy really is killing it. He said that he was gonna do this, and he did it. Like at least they have the nerve to admit it. Like that is the one thing I will give them. Like the guy that said that to me, like I gained a little bit more respect for him once he did that because then he was like, "Hey man, you are killing it. Like you're doing good. Like you said you would. I'm like, yeah, yeah. What you said didn't affect me. It wasn't affect me. Like I already knew what I was. My plan was, and what my game was, and I knew that I wanted to kill it. I knew how hard I was going to work, and and a lot of people, including myself, we use that hate towards us. we use that negative energy as fuel to just hit it even harder, you know? Like, I don't know how many times, like, if you look up stories of, a lot of famous people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of like super wealthy people have had a lot of bullying in their lives. Like, I don't know if you notice this, but that's just the way it is. The more you've been bullied, the more people talk crap about you. Like, you take that fuel and you just use it to really, go after it even more. At least that's one thing I have done. Thank you, Brandy, for the super chat. You guys throw some fire emojis out there. Awesome. Thank you. Success is the sweetest revenge. Amen to that. Dude, amen to that, JR. Like, it it is one of the best feelings in the world. Like, even though you don't even know the people, but they're like coming at you so negative, and then once they see how hard you're killing it, then they're like, "Oh man, you really are doing good. You're killing it, man." Then you're like, "Oh yeah." It's like that is amazing. I don't know why it feels so good, but it feels really good. Like, um, I remember when I was in elementary school, when I was in junior high, I there was this one kid, Michael. I'll never forget this kid. Like, this kid, every single day, dude, he was always bullying me, always talking smack, always had something mean to say to me about my birthmark. You know, every single day, no matter what. And then in junior high, I finally had enough of it. I finally had enough of that. I turned around and flipped the table on this kid. I was like so mad. And then like I was really about to punch the kid's lights out. And then we got sent to the principal's office, and the principal talked to us both. And I'm like, dude, the kid won't stop bullying me. Like, he keeps harassing me, and then finally he realized what he was doing. And then he looked at me and he said, I'm never gonna do it again. You know? And to his credit, this kid, he never bullied me from that day on. Never. Like, my birthmark just automatically didn't exist to him, which, I give that guy super props for doing that. And I gained a lot of respect for that kid. And like, probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, he found me on Facebook, and he was like, holy crap, Brian. Like, you're living the American dream. Like, I have so much respect for you right now. Like, you went through all that bullying and stuff, and this is what you did. You took it and you used it as fuel, to, slingshot yourself into this world, and you're slaying it, man. And man, dude, you have no idea how good that made me feel when he said that, because he was like one of my biggest, like, I felt like he was like my arch enemy, like, for the longest time, you know. And then, through high school, we went to the same high school, but we never had the same classes, and I never seen the kid again. But elementary, we were always in the same class. Junior high, we were always in one class together. It was like, you know, and finally, the bullying stopped. And, years later, me and him, we had a chat, and he's like, yeah, man, I ended up doing drugs and, doing a few years in jail and prison. But he's like, now I'm, getting my life cleaned up. I'm working for custody of my kids, and, he's straightening his life out. And so I was like, yeah, man, well, I wish you the best, but it was so crazy. Did you get the international fixed? No, it's still at the shop right now. They should be working. I called them Friday. I dropped it off Thursday. They were supposed to look at it Friday. I called them. They didn't answer the phone. I left a message. They never called me. That's what they do. The dealerships are known for that. I know exactly what their game plan is. Joey says, Brian, my main man, what's new? How's business been? Business has been amazing. We got 2 trucks working tomorrow. The third truck, we couldn't get that rolling because obviously it's, in the shop. So that kind of sucks. I had to put it in the shop to get the lighting fixed. I could not figure it out myself. That's why you should have bought a Mac. Much better truck, in my opinion. Yeah. A lot of people like Macs. I'm not really a Mac guy. But if the right deal came up, I would own a Mac. You know. So, when the dealership says that they can, this is one thing you got to be aware of. If any mechanics or dealerships say, yeah, man, I don't know, but schedule's kind of tight. We can check it out Friday evening. That means Monday morning or Tuesday morning. That does not mean Friday. They will never get it checked out on Friday. And they won't respond to your calls either. That's another key indicator that it ain't happening. Then you're not a real truck driver if you don't like Macs. Well, I could say the same about Peterbilt's. No, I do like Macs. There are a few Macs that I have that look pretty cool. My buddy Grady has one, and that thing looks pimp. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pimp. I would buy it from them if they were ever to sell it, and it was the right price. I'd buy it. Hard to find a Mac that's not beat to death. Believe me, I know. Got any lot lizard hit you up? Double shot TV. Juan, you're so funny, Juan. I did have one time when I was back in the fuel days when I was hauling fuel. When I was working for Love's, I remember I was at the Tacoma Love's and I had just gotten back. It was like 2 in the morning. And I went in to go get the Vita Root printout. It's a little printout that tells you how full the tanks are and stuff. And this one girl, you could tell she was not a customer in the store. She was looking for something to happen, And I didn't say nothing to her. I was just minding my own business, grab my Vita Root. Because, you see them all the time. But this one, I was just doing my paperwork. I went back out to the truck. She, like a minute later, after I went back out to the truck, she was following me, and I got to my truck, and she's like, "Oh, hi, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's going good. I'm just doing my job. Stay back. This is dangerous stuff." I was like, "Stay back." But that was the only real experience with the lot lizard I ever had. I hate Mack trucks, especially the Granite. That's what Blake says. Macs are just a Volvo nowadays, just like Western Star is just a Freightliner as well now. Yeah, little guys, tiny midget hood. I hate to say it, that is 100% truth right there. And Kenworths are Peterbilt's. They're basically the same. So, the only difference is the cab. Everything else is the same. How's the air compressor? Ever since I replaced the air compressor, it's been great. The air compressor has stopped. The tanks have stopped purging like a half a cup of oil every single day. Now it's just still getting the residual oil out. Like at the end of the day, you can purge the tank and a little bit comes out. If I were to put it in a cup, instead of this much coming out, now it's like this much, just enough to coat the bottom. You know what I mean? But before, it was literally this much coming out of it. If I stuck a glass up to it and went just in one air tank, that's how bad it was. So we finally got that taken care of. Put a new air compressor on there. Ended up costing me $800. There was a $500 core, so it was $900. What was it? It was $1,600 total until I brought him back the core, and then I got $600 back. So whatever that equals out to. So glad I did that air compressor. That was one of those things in the back of my head that was kind of like a ticking time bomb. Because I know people that have had air compressors fail on them, and it was catastrophic for the motor. And so I was like, yeah, I really want to get this done. But the timing with the cash flow of my business. So I was like, let's put it off a half a month longer, and then then we'll do it. And then that's how we did it. So some things you can put off for a little bit. Some things are ASAP right now. And, I finally had determined it had gotten to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm going to be spending more in oil than I would be if I don't buy a new pump soon, So, did that. Let's see. They're great if you have money to blow and not like being able to turn. Are you talking about lot lizard, Blake? Able to turn. I must have missed something. 90% is all I care about on the Vetter. Yeah, just see what the Vita root says, and then go for it. Go for it. Gonna go out on a limb and say if you spent the money you did the super dump on a Mac, you wouldn't have these issues. Yeah. And I probably would have been a lot more money into a Mac than I would have my International. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. Morning, Brian. What's up, Alex? Mac trucks. Oh, they're great if you have the money to blow, like not being able to turn. Mac trucks don't turn very good. I thought you were talking about lot lizards. They're great if you have money to blow. Oh, man. That's like that one video that's like super famous on YouTube when the news reporter asked the guy, "What you gonna spend your lottery money on?" He's like, "Hookers and blow. I'm gonna spend it on coke and hookers or something." And the lady's like, "Okay, we're going straight to an immediate break." They left turn like the Titanic. You can buy an old one and they will outlast the new ones. Yeah, that's the way it is with most trucks, is what people think and say. But I can honestly say I am very happy with my 2020 Peterbilt purchase. That truck's got 66,000 miles on it, and it's been an amazing truck. It really has been an amazing truck so far. And we've owned it for more than 1 year, and so it's been great. I would definitely buy another Peterbilt. The one thing I would like to change on the whole thing was the tailgate. Like, that was my biggest thing that I hated about it, because like, how could you make a tailgate so thin and it buckles like with the chains? Like, that's the stupidest thing. By building a new tailgate for myself. Check that video out. You can buy an old one and they will outlast new ones. We have one Mac left, an old R model. It's a water truck in one of the pits. There you go, Chaka. I mean, Corliss in Washington, Corliss, they have like 300 Macs. I mean, they got a lot. They got like one Peterbilt, one Kenworth, and the rest are all Mac. One second. My neighbor just asked me what my hourly rate for my excavator is. Oh, I better text him. I texted him 120, and then I texted him back. I said 100 for neighbors. Didn't you have issues with it already? I'm guessing you're talking about the International. Yeah, I had a few issues with it, but the cost versus buying a different truck. Oh, you're talking about the Peterbilt. I had very small issues, and if you talk to anybody who owns a brand new truck, they have small issues as well. So on my Peterbilt, I had 2 wheel seals. One of them didn't even have a wheel seal. or like an axle seal. Like, you know how you take the 10 bolts off and then you pull the axle out? The seal wasn't even there. It was non-existent. They just put the metal to metal. And it lasted a month before it even leaked. So, like, that was one of the issues. That's on that same axle, the other side, it had a seal and it was leaking. And then I had two airlines that rubbed, and poked a hole because they were on a bracket, but then the bracket was so flimsy. You know those, they're basically like this. These things are like, if they're made out of aluminum, then what happens is they break right here. If they vibrate too much or they move too much, they break. And that's basically what happened. This broke off, and then it was sitting on that bracket that was kind of sharp, and it just rubbed a hole right through them. But that was one of the problems I had with the Peterbilt. But that was so easy of a fix. Like, that was like literally 5 minutes. And then the biggest thing I've had on the Peterbilt so far was the DEF, basically sending unit. It's the sensor that goes in the DEF tank, and every single new truck has those. So you can't say that's a Peterbilt issue. That's a emissions issue that every new truck could have that issue. So, when people say, "Oh, well, your Peterbilt had an issue," no, it didn't have an issue. That was the emissions crap they put on it. And everybody could have that same issue. Like, even Blake had a DEF quality warning come up on his, and like, tons of people have those issues. That's just the way it is with the new systems. You got to just roll with the punches. Other than that, it's all Kenworth and Pete with 2 Volvos. Old trucks can be hard to find parts for. Yes, I've went over that video multiple times, Brian. Like, Brian knows, like, old trucks are harder to find parts for. I've done videos where I was replacing parts, and I've had you guys on the phone with me. I had the phone on speakerphone, and I'm like, "Hey, you guys got any wedge brake parts?" And he's like, "Wedge brakes? That should be in a museum," like, type talk. And, so when the trucks get older, it is harder to find parts. You can still find parts. It's just a pain. And when you can't find them, then you just have to update that whole system. Like, say your front axle has wedge brakes on it and you can't find any more. Then guess what? You just replace the front axle with a new front axle. You just find somebody to custom make the brackets, and then boom, you got a new front axle. You got all the parts you need. It's just kind of a pain, and it does get expensive eventually. That would be on the PDI team or active. They didn't put the gasket back on after undecking. I don't even know what that means, Chaka, but I'm guessing you're talking about the gasket for the axle. So when is the International going to be up and running? Sometime this week? Yeah, it should be. I mean, I really don't have a clue because it's at a dealership. And I've said this multiple times. Like, when you drop a truck off at a dealership, one second, let me respond to this text. Okay. Well, I forgot where I was now. When's the International up and running? Oh, yeah, okay. So, with the dealerships, when you drop a truck off at a dealership, you really have no idea when they're going to get done with the truck. Like, that's just the way it goes. Because they worked on their own time frame, and, they have all the specialty tools. So, you're basically at their mercy, Like, I spent, like, 3 days trying to fix the stupid lighting issue, and we couldn't figure it out. So they have to plug it into a computer, and the computer tells them what's what. My old man bought a brand new Mac and ran it for years with no issues, so not all new trucks have issues. Well, Joe, he probably just didn't tell you about the issues that he had. That's what happens a lot of times. You want, or he just didn't notice anything was happening. If you wanted to, you could delete the MX-13 and it would last forever. It's the emissions that kills them. Yep, what Blake said. They do have ways of deleting stuff, so Matt Grana, only thing done was tires and oil changes. Yeah, I mean, then the truck wasn't working. Like, if you work the truck, stuff's gonna break. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Yeah, Active is a transport company for PACCAR. They haul the decking piggybacked trucks from the factory. Yeah, they pull the rear axles when transporting them like that. Really? I never knew that. So what do? Chaka, they just put a cap on there or something? How are you doing today, Brian? I'm doing good, Joey. Doing good. Doing fantastic. Anyways, the live stream was about if you guys had an experience of somebody telling you that they were going to put you out of business. Like, I've had that experience multiple times where somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to put you out of business, Brian." Like, what's your experience with that happening? Has that happened to you? And if so, what happened? Did you go out of business or did they eat their words? Boom! Look at that green grass. You can see it. It's green. It's doesn't it? With my sunglasses on, you can see it. It looks. Anyways, the grass is really starting to grow on our front yard. All I did was buy a bag of seed, and I used a little push thing, and it sprayed it out. You can see how tall it's getting. I can't turn it upside down, but you can see, like, there's my finger. So it's a good 2.5 inches tall. It's starting to get there. James Rowland. Man, it's been a while since I seen you on here, brother. I've had multiple people tell me that, and my default answer is, you can't even figure out who legally owns my business. No less put me under. Yeah. I have a 250 Kobelco excavator. What can I get per hour out where you are? Just trying to see what it's worth in your neck of the woods. A 250 Kobelco excavator. Well, a 250, you could probably get 150, 160 bucks an hour. I'm guessing that. I mean, that's probably what I would charge. Probably 150 up to 200 an hour. It just depends. It really depends what kind of work you're doing with it. Like, if you're just doing, let me put it this way. If you're just doing like land clearing, you'll get paid by the acre. If you're doing like sewer or something, you're gonna make a lot more money. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to what you're doing. Like, if you're working for a homeowner, most homeowners don't have money. If you're working for a contractor who's working for a bank, then you can charge some real money. That's what it comes down to. Did you guys see the fishing pictures? We just got done fishing. I was organizing my tackle box again. Organizing my tackle box and adding line to my reel. We killed, guys. Me, Brandon, Rob, my son, we totally just slayed it, man. We caught 15 bass. And we even let like 2 of them go. Like 2 or 3 of them. We even let 2 or 3 of them go. Crazy. We slayed them. So in total we caught about 17 or 18, something like that. We just slayed it. Those of you that are on my Facebook, you got to see all the pictures of all the fish lined up, the ones that we didn't throw back. Yeah, we killed it. Do you know Chris Pike? They sure had a hell of a send-off for him yesterday. Chris Pike. I don't think I met him. Did he pass away or something? I'm guessing that's what you're referring to with the send-off. Hey Brian, I enjoy watching your videos, but no disrespect, your video quality is always poor. If you're going to be a YouTuber, you should invest in better filming equipment. Yeah, I've gotten that before, Ito. How was your driver's COVID test results? He came back negative for COVID. Of course, I probably shouldn't be telling you all that health information. That's probably like a hippo thing. But Rob probably wouldn't care. At least I don't think he would. He doesn't strike me as the guy that would flip out if I told somebody he got a negative test for COVID. Was your grandpa in the excavation business? The reason he owns the case? Nope, that's not the reason he owns the case, Sydney. He bought the case because of this property, and he wanted to be able to get his winter supply of wood down at the property, and he figured that was his best option to get winter wood was to buy an old tractor, an old backhoe, and so that's why he bought that. Where's all the drone footage? I used to love all those. Yeah, I just haven't had any time, Joe. And I lost my drone memory card. I had a special memory card for my drone because you have to have a special memory card to record in 4K like that fast. You have to have a really expensive memory card. And I lost mine. It was like $200, and I was just like, I don't know. It didn't seem that people watched the drone videos enough, or they liked the drone footage enough for me to justify it again. So I haven't. I mean, if I get enough requests for more drone footage, then I'll definitely buy one. But it didn't seem like people really cared that much to me. Like, as soon as I stopped doing the drone videos, nobody even said anything. I still got the drone. I crashed it pretty bad, but it still works. I replaced the camera on it. That was fun. That was a lot of little screws, probably like 20 or 30, and I had to unsolder 3 wires in it, and the wires were literally like this big. They were like so small. I should have did a video on that because that was cool, but there was already a few videos on YouTube showing people that replaced the camera, and they probably did a better job on the video than I could have. So I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time. And they did a good job at illustrating what was what. These are what we used. We used these worms. I'm thinking I might do a fishing channel. Not on this channel, but make another YouTube channel and do a fishing. Because I'm not really a fisherman. I'm really just a beginner. But we had so much fun using these fake worms. Rob is like an expert fisherman. He's like a pro. And just like some backstory, like my grandpa never took me fishing except for like once when I was like a super young kid, and I caught one fish and it was probably like this big. And my dad never took me fishing because my dad was never around, right? So I've never really gone fishing except for once or twice. My father-in-law took me one time. We did pretty good. We caught a few trout, river trout. But I'm not really big into fishing. But after yesterday, Like, I really wanted to do, you know, some videos for fishing. Do you consider yourself better than Andrew Camarada yet? Uh, I wouldn't say, like, on, like, what are you referring to? Like, business wise, or would you say video wise? Like, where are you heading with that, Joe? You have newer toys, but he seems to have more work. Business. You know, it's hard to say, Joe, because for one, I normally don't compare myself to other businesses. Like, especially businesses that are halfway across the country, unless they are trying to call me out, then I compare my business to theirs, right? But I really like Andrew. I would never compare myself to any of my friends. Like that that's not what I do. I normally don't do that type of stuff. But if you wanted to like just like I have no clue what he does in revenue. Like I just have no clue. But I would assume that he has a pretty high profit margin because all his stuff is so old. He probably owns it all. He probably doesn't have any payments. I'm just guessing. I don't know. He never talks about that in any of his videos. So I'm just guessing and saying he's probably in a similar situation that I'm at. You know, he probably owns his land. He probably owns all his machines. You know, and he definitely has more machines than I got. So there's no question right there. You know, he's definitely done well for himself. You know, and he started way before I have. So I would say that my business, like if I had to compare myself to him, which I don't, but if I did, I would say my business probably grew faster than his because I remember watching his videos when I was first starting and, you know, he hasn't really grown that much. Like he's bought in a few machines since then, you know, but I wouldn't really say yeah, I don't even know, you know. I don't even know if my business has even grown faster than his or not. You know, it's crazy to think about other people like that. Um, he's probably got more money than me. He probably does. I would just assume because he owns everything. You know, he's not making payments. You know, but you just never know unless they put that information out there. You can't really, you know, you can't really guess. You know, I think he's amazing at, you know, YouTube. There's no way I'm doing better than him on videos. Like his video, he pops a video and it's automatically got like 30,000 views, 40,000 views. Like I can't do those numbers yet, you know. And maybe it's because of my video quality, maybe it's because of my internet, you know. Maybe it's because he's been on YouTube like 4 times longer than me. You know, he's already captured that audience, you know. And once you have you know, a very loyal fan base, they normally like I've found that people only watch like 2 or 3 YouTubers like consistently. Like, you know, 2 or 3 YouTubers and then you browse videos. Like you only keep tabs on 1 or 2. And then the other ones you just watch you watch a video every once in a while. You know, at least that's kind of what I've found and what I've seen. Yeah, he passed. They had a pretty big convoy of dump trucks yesterday in the memorial. You would think he makes a hell of a lot more than his YouTube than he does from his business. Chaka, and that's what I'm think. I think that his business might be YouTube more than property maintenance. I mean, with the way he shows it, with the way he shows his business, like his YouTube videos get so many views. Like he's got to be making. And I know for a fact he's had lots of companies give him stuff and probably, you know, say, hey, you know, can you show this? You know, like he's not a sellout or nothing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he's probably had a lot of more offers for, you know, partnership videos, this and that. Like, hey, we'll give you this, show it in one of your videos, you know. Yeah, that is his business. Providing content for YouTube. Like, he's got like 2 or 3 million subscribers now. Like, he's slaying it on YouTube. He's making more on YouTube than most people make with their regular business, probably. And his overhead for YouTube is like down here, unless you count his business. His uh, equipment and stuff that he has to use for his content. He never has to bring a mechanic. He fixes everything himself. Well, I don't know about that, Joe. If I feel like if there was something that he couldn't fix, he probably wouldn't show YouTube. He's killing it. Good for him. Seems like a good dude. Yeah, I really like his content, you know. And I do consider myself similar to his type of content. I really do. The one thing I would say that's different between me and Andrew is I feel like I definitely am more vocal about my opinions, my thoughts. Like, he's more of a, keeps stuff to himself. Like, he doesn't really talk about a lot of stuff. But like, especially even when he's working on stuff, like, he doesn't tell you like what's going through his mind a lot. He Every once in a while he says something that is hilarious though, like, it just got dented for no reason. Like, it just flipped over and now it's all dented for no reason. It's like, you're like, dude, you friggin' flipped it over. Of course it's dented and scratched. Like, you know, he says some crazy funny stuff, and but he doesn't really go into, you know, he doesn't tell you how much he makes. He doesn't tell you any of that stuff. He don't tell you how much he bids stuff for. There's lots of stuff that he doesn't do, but he doesn't need to because he has other types of. You think I have more haters, Sydney? I don't know. He's got a lot of haters too. Like, if you go on any of his videos, you'll see like 200-300 dislikes. There's always. It don't matter who you are. The bigger you get, the more haters you get because people are so jealous. Like, they can't just not change the channel. They have to dislike something. They have to, you know, get off on something, you know. And then there's those, YouTube professionals that hate him too. Like, so many YouTube professionals hate Andrew because they're like, "Oh, you're doing that wrong, or you're doing this wrong, or that's the stupidest way I've ever seen something done." And Andrew's just like, "I don't care. I do it my way." And I gotta respect him for that because I'm the same way. Like, I like your advice. I'll take your advice and I'll analyze what I think is the best route, and then I'm gonna make my decision. And that's the same way Andrew is. I feel like, he does things his own way, you know. And if people say he sucks at it, he's like, well, he gives them the bird because, he just don't even acknowledge them. You have as many dislikes as likes. Wow, you're blind, Joe. Dude, I have way more likes than dislikes. My like to dislike ratio on my videos is usually around 96% likes, 4% dislikes. So I have the statistics on my YouTube. I bet he got a lot of comments from audio shops when he installed the stereo in the old Dodge. You're talking about this video? Well, yeah, I don't know why. I got 22 people watching this. They must like it if they're watching me. So, but it is what it is. Eventually, this video will have like 300 views and it'll have like 20 likes, and there will still only be like 4 dislikes. Would you guys like to see any fishing videos, like learning how to fish? Brian VANDUYN, learning how to fish. This is the reel I bought from Walmart about a year or two ago. It's a bait caster. Says Granite Outdoors. Yeah. I seen that, Chaga, when he cut the thing with the chainsaw. That was just nuts. There's a few things that I was like, he's doing this for the video. He's not doing this because he actually thinks this is a good idea. This is like, he's like, this is gonna be killer content. People are gonna be like, legend status right here. You know, like when the door wouldn't close, he took the high lift jack and started jacking it up just so the door would close. Like, he kills me sometimes. He's like, yeah, this is the way I do it. it he's a character. I respect him for it. He's such a character. But yeah, he's done some crazy things. He's done some absolute crazy things. But I've been where he's at before. Like when you're so frustrated with something, you're just like, okay, what's the most extreme thing I can do to make this happen? Let's take a chainsaw to the dash. You know? Man, look how many bites we got on just this one worm. It was destroyed. I didn't even know how to actually hook a regular worm onto a fishing pole until yesterday. Is your new driver running the 85 tomorrow? Yep. Rob's running the old Pete. He actually likes it. He said, you know, it's a little cramped for him because he's so tall, but he does like it. He's like, yeah, driving through the gears, you know. I don't know, maybe he was just saying that because, you know, he knows I love the truck. But, you know, truck's a truck, you know. So he had a good gig to do it with. Like, it's a lot of miles. It's not like a pit run where he's going into a pit every single day. If he was in a pit every single day, he would hate me. He would want to quit. I know that for sure. Like, that truck is just like when you're driving. I mean, it's just like whoa. It's nuts. Let me just show you guys how to. For those of you that don't know how to hook a worm, I'm gonna show you how I was taught how to hook a worm. I'm gonna show you how I was taught, or how I thought it was, and then how he was just saying that because he knows his gear shifting will be done when the International gets out of the shop. Yes, that is one of the things that he said. Like, he's like, I love automatics. I love automatics. He's like, at the end of the day, my shoulder was so tight. He was like so set on like doing automatics. So imagine this: when I was first, when I first started fishing, this is how I thought you were supposed to hook the worm. Like, I thought you were supposed to just feed this whole thing through. Basically like this. That's how I thought you were supposed to hook the worm, you know? And then, or if it was like a super long one, then you would just bunch it up a few times, you know, like this, and just have it like all bunched up. Like, that's what I thought. And that's probably why I didn't catch anything the first day I went fishing. Check this out. This is how I learned how to do this. You put this in here, oh, about that far or so, right? And then you put that up, and then you just check right here. See where that is? Right about there. So then you take this, and you hook that in just like that. Oh, too far. And you pull that up, just like that. That's how you actually hook the worm. Is that crazy? Because then when you cast it and you're reeling it in, all the weeds and stuff go around it. They don't get stuck on the hook. And then when the fish comes up and bites it and he closes his mouth, that's when you set the hook and you pull it, you pull the hook with the line and it boom, hooked. Is that crazy? Thank you, sweetie. My wife brought me some Captain Crunch because I'm the captain, right? She's like, you think so?
That's what you say.
Your hair is so pretty. Are you gonna try straightening your hair, Jay? Brian VANDUYN, Great Outdoors. Hey Brian, I was wondering where in your property going to be building up your house. You got a nice view back there. Let me show you, Alex. Watch Jimmy Houston Outdoors. He will teach you how to fish. Okay, I'll check that channel out. I know. Okay, so there's our front yard. It's turning green. Up there, that's where the house is going to be. Right there. And it'll be facing our front yard, which is right there. And, once the grass is grown, we'll throw some clover out there. We'll throw some salt licks, and we'll have deer in our front yard, and it'll be super cool. And then right here, I'm thinking once I get 2 more shipping containers on top, I don't want to give away my secret, but there's only a few people watching this, so I'm thinking, okay, once I put 2 more on top and I do my flat roof, Andrew was cool. He had a trampoline on his. I think I'm going to put a jacuzzi on the top of mine. I think that's going to be so cool. Yeah, I used a shady mixture of seed. Chaka. Yep. Shade/sun. Did you see the video of the Mack truck taking out the power pole and driving down the road like he had no idea it was even there? Is that the one where the guy backs up when somebody tells him to stop, and then he keeps pulling forward, and then he backs up, and then he keeps pulling forward like he's trying to run into them? Is that the one you're talking about? You're funny, Blake. You're funny. Yeah, dude, that lady was tripping. She was like, he's gonna drag the power lines into us. That was so funny. He honestly looked like if he could get that thing off, he would have got it off and then took off. That's what he looked like he would have done. I don't know the guy, but that's what it looked like to me. This was the best color for our lake that we did yesterday morning. It was a clear lake. Pretty clear looking. This worm killed it. I also did really good with blue, and I had another worm too. I bought these because I was like, oh, look, there's a bass fish on it. And I'm like, yeah, we're going bass fishing, so I'm going to get this because it has a bass fish on it. And they were out of night crawlers, so that's why I bought these. And I got this color too. This is it's a dark blue with like glitter in it. Yeah, the guy, like, I don't even want to say, because I don't know, but man, that guy must have been on something. I also got a whole bunch of these, Brandon called them crankbait. I think they're called just lures or something. He called them crankbait, but they're supposed to be weedless also, because you see this right here. The weed hits it and it goes around the hook. And I guess these ones, when they drop, they kind of flutter, they kind of flutter to the bottom, and then they kind of bounce off the bottom because they have this like little weight, so it kind of bounces when you twitch it. I bought a whole bunch of these. I didn't get any bites with it, but Brandon stuck his pole and he got a bite with it. That guy was once VANDUYN driver of year. Well, that's probably Justin, because the way he talks. That guy was once VANDUYN driver of year. Driver of the year. You forgot the. You tried to make a joke and then you made yourself look stupid because you don't know how to spell, or you don't know how to do a complete sentence. Anyways, I bought a whole bunch of these lures. I bought these ones. I never even got to use these ones though, because like I was doing the worm. In the worm, I was having such good luck with the worm. Like I was like, I ain't doing anything else. I'm just doing the worm. Like we were slaying it with the worms. And I don't know what happened to the little bag I had that one in, so I'm going to get another bag out. I almost feel like a little drug dealer. I got all these little bags. I was tired of having everything bounce around in here. What's your appraised value of all your equipment? Well, that's a good question. I never really thought about how much money I have in equipment, because I don't ever really plan on selling any of it. If I was planning on selling it, then I might, get it appraised. But if I had to guess, I could sell my dozer for probably $12,000. I could sell my mini for probably $35, $40, probably maybe $40. Probably my 120 I could probably sell for $35. Just depends, I could sell the tilt deck for probably $6,000, $7,000. Let's see. My old Peterbilt, I could probably sell that for $20, $25. Easy. I could sell my International for probably over $100,000. Probably $120, I'm thinking. With such low miles and it being a cat, I could probably sell it for $120. Because it's such a nice truck now that I've fixed everything on it. And my new Peterbilt, I wouldn't even know where to start with that thing, but I know it's worth a lot. If you do sell it, would you accept a check or only cash? That's a good question. I probably wouldn't accept a check unless it was from a reputable business. And then it wouldn't be a check, it'd be a cashier's check. That's what I would accept. I wouldn't accept a regular check for something. Or if it was a regular check, they would not be able to pick it up until it is cleared. Cash is definitely my preferred method of payment, though. Is fishing gonna be your stress relief from trucking? What's up, Wrench and Bolts on YouTube? I would say it's not really a stress relief, but it was super fun. Like, we just had so much fun reeling them in, It was like, cast out, boom, whoa, fish on. It's like so crazy. It was just like, for some reason, I'm one of those people that when I'm fishing, like getting a fish on the line, like wakes me up. Like I'm so animated when it happens. Like I get so excited. It's probably like the predator in me. I don't know. I just love fishing. It's so fun. There's the times that when you're fishing and you don't catch anything, it's so boring, and you're like, man, why did I do this? But the times you get a fish on, you're like, yeah, let's get this fish in here, you know? It's just so fun. It's just a fun sport, you know? And I'm just a beginner, so I don't really know, like, a lot of fishing or anything. But I figured it'd be a cool video, you know? A lot of people would like to go fishing, but then what happens is they never catch anything, so they hate fishing. They're like, this is the stupidest, most boring thing ever. And, you know, that's definitely happened to me before. But it was mainly because I didn't know what I was doing. Nobody showed me how to properly fish. You know what I mean? Next time I go fishing, I'm going to try one of these hooks. Because I was watching videos and people were using these hooks, and apparently they're better for keeping the worm where it's supposed to be. Let me just show you real quick what the hook looks like. This is called a worm hook, I think is what it's called. And you know how I showed you when you push the worm up? Well, when you push the worm up, it sits right on this little ledge. So when the fish tug at it, it hits that little ledge, right? And it doesn't slide down automatically and expose most of the worm so they could just get the worm off. The worm stays up on there better because of that little lip. I'm going to try one of these next time. I had this tackle box from my grandpa. He gave it to me. And it was so full of like just random ins and odds like junk from fishing. That was another thing that I hated about fishing. The tackle box was just such a mess. You couldn't even... Everything was tangled up and it was such a mess. Like you couldn't even... you couldn't even figure it out. Like now I got things somewhat organized, in little bags. So I got my fishing hooks in bags. That way, if this ever did tip over, I need to put these in bags too. But if it did tip over, like everything wouldn't just spill everywhere. But let me just show you like this is all the stuff that came out of that fishing box that like I decided, I was like, what the heck? Like, see, this is what the fishing box, this is what the tackle box looked like. That's what it looked like. And I was like, man, this is such a disaster. Like, that's what it looked like. And I was like, I got to sit down and make this more enjoyable. And that was one of the things that made it more enjoyable for me. That's pretty funny, Justin. That is pretty funny. I've actually never eaten worms. They do eat worms in Peru, though. I got Captain Crunch today. Anyways, guys, I've been on here for an hour. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, Justin. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.